Implementing a public participation program involves many people, often from different departments in the city, for example, the planning department, the civic engagement office, and the mayor's office. This means that coordinating an effort could be very challenging. As a project manager, you need to convene possible key people early on before you make decisions about public engagement. As we mentioned before, these groups should be small and manageable. You could you need other people's skills as you go along in the process, like writers, facilitators, and so on. But you need your core team. This core team will be involved to review roles, responsibilities, and run the show basically for each engagement opportunity. You also need to periodically assess your communication strategy and make modifications as you go along to ensure that you are reaching all interested stakeholders. It is also important to establish a system to document all of the input that you receive to help you for the next step. When appropriate, include contractors and or consultants in the project too. We could think of several roles that your team members could play. The spokesperson is someone within the group that is effective public speaker. This person will present information to groups during briefings or public meetings and communicating to the media. Most times all planners are spokespersons for the project assigned to them, where they are the project managers, while at other projects they have more of a supportive role. Often interns of planning aides are not in charge of the project yet, and thus they are not the spokesperson. But you could be, after being a planner 1, 2, or senior planner. The important thing here is that the spokesperson should not be the consultant. It should be someone in the organization, particularly when you are describing public decision making to residents in your community. A consultant can describe the participation process, and they can give technical information about the different alternatives being presented in a plan, but they should not be the spokesperson. The spokesperson should be someone inside of the your organization or your agency, in this case the city, and it should be then the project manager or the planner that is the project manager in this specific project. You might also need a facilitator. If you have people within your organization that might have received facilitation training and can play this role, that would be great. However, most times facilitators are hired as consultants because it is a very specific skill. Facilitators tend to be neutral. This is why it's so important to keep the spokesperson and the facilitator's role separate and distinct. When anybody who has been the organization a spokesperson tries to act as a facilitator, he or she will no longer be seen as neutral on the content of the meeting and might be viewed as manipulating the structure of the meeting to produce a predetermined outcome. Then you have the technical experts. If new low-income housing is proposed for property where there might be a storage of hazardous waste or people are afraid of that proposed new substantation, that will maybe create an electromagnetic field that might contribute to cancer. You'll need expertise in your team in that areas of concern. You might also need someone who will do the branding and graphics for printed materials, being like a slideshow presentations or just like displays. Generally speaking, having someone in your team who can make things more visually attractive and create a brand around your project is very important, because then the people, the residents, community members, they actually recognize that this is a project brand and that they have been taking part of the same project. For example, if they were asked for a survey, it would be like, oh, I already filled that out. Or if they see that there's another event, pop-up event, they might be like, oh, I already went to this other thing and I liked it very much. I'm going to go to this like next meeting. I'm going to follow on this particular project. And the nicer things like look, the more likely is that people will actually like participate because they think that something is like well organized, or because they might think that something might have a high budget, so it kind of like gives them a little bit more like legitimacy, and people want to be part of those things. You might be preparing meeting handouts, reports, or even newsletters, and therefore need someone that is like really good at writing, proofreading materials, editing, and also make it like so people actually will read it. So maybe they're good at telling a story, and just like grasps the attention of our community member. And maybe someone needs to prepare a script for a video that you are creating, or there's an ad, whatever that might be. And usually like writers and editors could be good at communicating with the public, things that are of interest to the public, but also you may need someone who writes about the technical aspects of a project. You might also need someone to translate the materials or oversee printing and distributions. You need someone who knows how to get publicity about the issue and can work with the media to explain the issues in ways that will be understandable to the public. And again, this person might do it in social media and also taking very nice pictures and things that are captivating for telling stories. But this person might also go to the radio and have good contacts with editors of newsletters, newspapers, or even TV shows. Of what's going on in the media is actually relationships. People have a relationship with a reporter, and every time that there's a issue related to affordable housing, they might contact that specific reporter, and that reporter, because it is accustomed to working with you, he or she might actually do a story. So you can act as a person who is like giving stories to reporters after that relationship is established, and you can do that with like several reporters. So it's very important that you build these relationships. But most likely someone at your organization is already doing that for your organization, so you can actually contact them and say, can you contact the media, and then just give them my information so I can tell them about the particular project, because it's more of the job of the public relations specialist to actually have those relationships with the media and then connect them to you. And then you also have to look in your own institution, what are the regulations for doing that. So maybe some cities will not want you to be speaking directly to the media. They want you to go through the public relations specialist first, and then that person can connect you to the media. So you don't have to figure that out. There may be like someone that you need to identify the appropriate mailing list if you're going to send postcards or other kinds of invitations, to pinpoint also at different audiences. Maybe you're trying to identify specific stakeholders. You'll also be storing public comments. So maybe you want a person in the team that does that and summarizes the different public comments and makes sure that they are incorporated into the final report.